Yo, what's going on, folks? Welcome back to KW, and today I want to do things a bit different. I had a lot of folks send me questions that they found on Quora and wanted me to answer them. All right, question one. How many hours of not eating constitutes an empty stomach? All right, well, that depends on the content, the quantity, the quality, and also the conditions of your stomach. So when it comes to the content, how much fat, how much protein, how much carbohydrates are you eating? Fat takes a lot of energy to digest. So fat takes a little bit longer to digest than everything else. As far as the quantity, how much in general did you eat? Did you have a big meal? Or did you have a small meal? Or like a medium-sized meal that's normal for you? As far as the quality, did you have something solid, like a solid meal? Did you have a smoothie? Did you have a juice? Did you have something that was like completely raw meal? Was it burnt and charred? And also, a few things to consider. Did you eat something really hot or something really cold? Because cold food takes longer to pass through the stomach because your body has to warm it up. Then there's a question of digestibility. Do you have low gut motility? Do you produce low enzymes? Do you stay hydrated? There's a few things that go into it, but how many hours, between 2 to 6 hours roughly, is a good measurement of having an empty stomach. Let's continue. How does my stomach process food I ate 30 minutes prior to a main meal before it works on the main meal? Does eating again slow down the digesting process? That's a great question. Okay, so your stomach selectively allows digested, broken down, and mostly liquefied content to pass through the pyloric valve or the pyloric sphincter as it sees fit. And it does this very slowly. So when you have this next meal 30 minutes later, the food is staying in the corpus, in the body of the stomach, until, as it's getting mixed with gastric fluid and crushed, through the muscular contractions of the stomach. If any solid food gets to the antrum or the pylorus by any chance, then your stomach is going to propel the food back up to the body. And that process of propelling the food back up, that contraction the stomach does to get it away from the pyloric sphincter, that also helps to, loosen up the food a bit too. So that's pretty much that. Does eating again slow down? Well, eating again, it doesn't matter too much. Let's say if I ate a meal and then half an hour later I had like a fruit bar or something like that, like it's not gonna matter too much. But if it's like another big meal, then that's problematic. Consider the fact that your stomach may be taxed by producing more hydrochloric acid, by getting more digestive enzymes to produce, to break down more protein. So when you think about it, yes, it can slow down digestion. Digestion takes up a lot of energy. So you can only imagine indigestion can happen. If there's just so much in the stomach, then some acid reflux may happen. Yeah, eating too much again and chronically can make digestion slower. Continuing. All right, how is it that a person eats a lot? How is it that if a person eats a lot of food, they end up weighing more the day after than when all the food is in their stomach? All right, so you ate a lot on day one. The process from food to poop is over a day. It's a long process. So if you ate a lot on that first day and then you're eating more the next day, you weigh more. Does that make sense? Good. Okay, I'm experiencing a tightness in my stomach. I don't wake up with it, but it turns to knots during the day. Do you have experience with this? No, but I can understand what this person is going through. I have felt that in the past. I'm pretty sure most of us have. So I feel like this person is really stressed out, maybe really anxious, perhaps depressed, I don't know, but definitely stressed out to the point where they have an endocrine imbalance. They have a hormonal imbalance, I should say. So think about this. We produce hormones in our stomach throughout our GI tract, of course, throughout the whole body, but we do produce many hormones in the stomach. If someone is going through a hormonal imbalance, that's going to affect the hormones they produce in their stomach. Maybe that's why people eat a lot when they're stressed out, because we do produce ghrelin and leptin, the hormones that tell us to eat and tell us to stop, and that can be, mixed up. We also produce a hormone in the stomach called gastrin. That particular hormone senses what's coming into the stomach and will produce gastric fluids, in a nutshell. So if someone is really stressed out, they actually may be producing unnecessarily gastric fluid, and that can cause irritation in the stomach, of course. So I just feel like this person is extremely stressed out, really anxious. When you wake up, you're perceiving your day. You're like, you know what, okay, I have to go to work. I'm going to be seeing this person, that person in my day. I have to do this, I have to do that. And you're stressed out, and then boom, the knots and the tightness and the nausea comes in or whatever. So, it's that kind of combination. I always say, just breathe, try to relax. I know it's easier said than done, but try to relax, focus on betterment. Also, things to consider: take flower essence, Angziocalm, or even simpler, just drink some Tulsi, because that helps your hormones and your stomach and balance your life. We're about here, KW, balance. Let us continue. Okay, are digestive enzymes probiotics? No, they are not probiotics. They are far from probiotics. So digestive enzymes, an enzyme in of itself is a substance, usually a protein, that will catalyze or speed up a chemical reaction. A digestive enzyme are enzymes that catalyze macronutrients. An example of an enzyme is aspartate aminotransferase. That particular enzyme catalyzes amino acid metabolism for energy during liver cell damage. Now, a probiotic instead is a microbe that will benefit your body in a positive way. That can be yeast, or it can be a bacteria. An example of those: there's Saccharomyces boulardii, also Lactobacillus plantarum 299V, which is a specific strain of bacteria. Also, think about this way too: a probiotic is a living microorganism, whereas an enzyme is not a living thing. How should your stomach feel after eating a proper amount of food? You should feel fine. You should feel like there's something in your stomach and that's it. You shouldn't feel full. You shouldn't feel crampy. I mean, if you feel a little full, that's okay. But you shouldn't feel crampy. You shouldn't feel nauseous. You shouldn't feel too heavy and nothing like that. You should feel satisfied, especially because the hormone leptin pretty much has told your brain to stop eating. So boom, you should be good. That's how you should feel. I mean, everyone is different. Everyone can, handle different amounts of food in their stomach at a time. But again, you should feel satisfied and good. You should still be able to walk around and get up or whatever. But you shouldn't feel bad. Is it safe to eat on an empty stomach? Yes. That's called breaking a fast. Like eating breakfast. As long as you had enough time during your sleep for your stomach to digest and pass your food, then yeah, it is safe to eat on an empty stomach. Unless you have some kind of medical condition where you can't, which I can't think of one. But yeah, it's safe. Let's keep it going. Ooh, is it unhealthy to lie down after eating? That is a very controversial question. It's not unhealthy, but it's uncomfortable, and to me, I say it's a bad habit. It's going to make your digestion more of a difficult task for your stomach. It might cause indigestion or reflux. Some people are used to it, and that's perfectly fine. That's cool. But I just think for most people, it is not a great idea, but it's not necessarily unhealthy. You're going to digest your food anyway. That's going to happen regardless. But just stay up, let your stomach do what it has to do properly before you lay down. Yeah, but it's not unhealthy. It's just not the best idea. Oh, here it is. When eating, what goes through the stomach? Okay, saliva, which you're swallowing even before you eat. Nutrients, glycoproteins coming from in your salivary glands. Solid or liquid food particles that you just consumed. Microbes, can't avoid it. I didn't say pathogens, I said microbes. Air, macronutrients, micronutrients, all that stuff. This everything that you consumed or that you're swallowing, again, air, you're swallowing that too, that's all going through your stomach. What are the foods that can help my body to what are the foods that can help my body to detoxify and cleanse? That's a good question. I like that question. First of all, I like the fact that it said that can help my body detoxify and cleanse, because we don't need to take cleansing products. I do not like saying that, but cleansing products to do that. Our body does this naturally. I would say artichokes, Coralie, also known as bitter melon, I think here in America, dandelion greens, mustard greens, cruciferous vegetables, dark leafy greens, berries, even tea, soy, oh my goodness, milk thistle, burdock root. There's a lot of things that you can consume to help detoxify and cleanse, but those are what I would suggest to start with. Also, make sure you're drinking enough water and eating enough fiber, because once you detoxify, your body needs to get that stuff out. So get on it. Does your stomach eat itself if you don't eat? All right, it's a funny question. It's also a very legitimate question, okay? It's not a dumb question. Your stomach does not have teeth. It won't eat itself. However, given certain circumstances, if you don't eat for a long period of time, your stomach may produce gastric fluids too often, depending on certain things, again, like perception, thinking about food or whatever, smelling food. And that can potentially break down the lining of your stomach, which is protected by a mucosal layer. But that can break down the lining of your stomach, and then of course that can cause gastritis, ulcers, all different kind of problems. So yes, your stomach can digest itself given certain circumstances. Again, sorry, not again, but keep in mind that a lot of people don't have this issue. There are people who can fast for days, for weeks, for months with no problems. But again, given certain circumstances, that can happen to which you can digest the lining of your stomach, and that is no bueno. What helps your stomach from eating too much? You do. Your perception, your brain, and your hormones are what stop your stomach from eating too much. So if you are otherwise functioning fine, then it's pretty much just you. It's all on you. You don't have any control. You need to learn to control yourself. Take your time when you eat. Balance your hormones so that way leptin can tell your brain to stop once you're satisfied, first of all. But if you're beyond that and you're full, just stop eating. That's pretty much it. It's all you gotta do. Just have self-control and take your time. Ooh, yeah. What makes your stomach growl while eating? That's a good question. So there's nothing that muffles the sounds of your stomach, okay? When you're eating, if there's a lot of air in your stomach, you're gonna hear that. Now, beyond that, air can be in your intestinal tract, and that make that noise as well, the growling. Also, hunger pains. When you're really hungry, you want to hear sounds in your stomach. Things are moving around. Even when there's no food in there, things are moving around in your stomach. You have, gastric fluids can be in there just kind of chilling. So, it's just like hunger pains, incomplete digestion, or air in the stomach or in the intestines. Oh man. Do atheists, those who don't even believe in God, eat food? Yes, everybody eats food. Why? Because that's the only way you're going to grow and survive. I'm not going to even okay. If food takes an average of 2 to 4 hours to totally leave your stomach and render your stomach empty, why do I still feel full 4 to 5 hours after a meal? Few reasons. One, an empty stomach can actually be 2 to 6 hours, like I said earlier, depending on what you ate prior. So that's one thing. The second thing, if you have any gas buildup in your intestinal tract, that can actually put some upwards pressure on your stomach, and that can make you feel full hours later after you ate. The next thing is low stomach motility. You may have a slower gastric emptying than most people, and that is problematic, because then if you had something to eat and you normally empty it within 2 to 4 hours or 2 to 6 hours, it's going to take a lot longer for your stomach to actually pass all this stuff out, and then you're still full many hours later. I have a lot of clients and customers who have low gut motility, and man, like, can you imagine eating something 8 o'clock at night and you're still having that food in your stomach when you wake up the next day, like 8 9 o'clock? That's crazy, but that can happen. Like, I had a client who I had go see a gastroenterologist about this issue because it was really bad, and I wanted them to get an endoscopy done because of their condition. I'm not going to talk about their condition here, but they actually needed that, and that ended up saving their life. But the GI actually noticed that even though they didn't eat after midnight, they still had undigested food in their stomach. That's insane. Low gut motility is a thing, but again, in most cases, this is just upwards pressure from the intestinal tract while you're, digesting food. So that's it for today. That was fun. I am looking forward to doing more things like this with Quora, and also just, whatever questions that anyone sends my way, I will answer them. So with that, be well, stay dynamic, stay hydrated, make sure you're drinking your water, and catch you next time. Later.